Last night, the Storm, they sneak by the Eels. But how many times, and Matty John spoke to us last week, Scopey, that it's a really long road. So Matty John spoke about 1995, Canterbury win the comp ultimately against a team, Manly's Warringah Seagulls, who had only lost 2 games that whole year.
Yep.
And halfway through the year, they were pounced 42-0 versus the Knights. So most people would say, cannot win. They win the comp. So yes, the Melbourne Storm are not firing and have not really fired for some time. But where do we land?
I thought it was a professional win.
Yep.
I was impressed for this reason. Go back to last week.
Yep.
The Parramatta Eels are playing the Broncos. What's the main criticism coming out of that game? Reece Walsh was trying to do too much.
Yep.
That's the main. He's been the main person who's been criticised this week.
Yep.
Because he wanted to win that game 40-10.
Yep.
Now you look at the Melbourne Storm. They're missing Jerome Hughes. They probably know.
Still no Nelson.
No Nelson. They can play within themselves. They were dropping a lot of players under. I thought Cameron Munster kicked really well in this game. And they got a really good win away from home. And they've been struggling. So, yeah, I thought it was professional. I know when people were looking at where they are on the ladder compared to Parramatta, Parramatta are a 10 out of 10 in effort in the last month of footy. So I thought it was a good win. Obviously, there's some stuff that you want to clean up, and there was clearly frustrations from Craig Bellamy. But, again, just going back to that point, when everyone's piling on to Reece Walsh because he was trying to do too much last week, Melbourne Storm come out, they take a little bit off it, and they get a really good win. It's a really important win, which is cementing their spot in the top 4. So, good professional Melbourne Storm victory.
In the last few years, Scopey, have we seen a better barometer or guide or indication for a team as to where they were to where they are now? I'm talking about round 1. Eels go down, they get absolutely whacked. And the scoreline, as big as it was probably flattering still to Parramatta.
Yeah.
Fast forward to round 21, Moses just come back. Like, he's hardly ready to go. Considering Dylan Brown's not even being used, I know there's no Nelson and I know there's no Jerome Hughes, but Dylan Brown's also arguably the highest paid player in the game next year. He wasn't being used. Isaiah Yongi wasn't being used the week before. So it's quite the turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Yongi didn't play in this. He's been Parramatta's best all year.
Yeah.
Dylan Brown, if not for the circumstances, is part of their best 13, for sure. But I fully understand what Jason Rolls is doing. I love that they're frustrated, but also you can understand that there's a plan that they're trying to put in place. I think they're even ahead of schedule, to be honest. Wow. I know, you want to be winning football games, and they've shown that they can beat the top-tier teams like the Broncos, who I still think are a genuine threat for the competition. And to go down by less than 6 against a really good Melbourne Storm team that still had Harry, still had Money. Tyron Wishart was unreal last year when Money missed some footy. Ali Katoa was one of the best back rowers in the game. I thought Stefano played his best game.
Well,
I reckon
his last Origin, I thought, and people won't pay this, I thought he was very good in Origin 3.
He was better than what I first... And when I watched it live, it wasn't until I watched it back the second time that I thought he was probably... Well, I was a bit critical on him originally in reviewing the game the next day, and then you sort of go back and watch it. But I think that's done him the world of good.
Yeah, 100%.
It's motivated him. I think when you play, was never good enough to play at that level. But players, it can go either way. It can be overwhelming for players, or they can come back and go, mate, that is 10 times harder than what we get at the NRL. This is light work. So he's been able to get back to the offensive stats that he had last year at the West Tigers, whilst also maintaining the defensive importance that Bellamy puts on him. So I think he had roughly 30 tackles, only 1 miss.
Yep.
They're really big on their tackle efficiency. That's something I know that they pride themselves on. And then also, I think he had 4 tackle busts in one play down that short side at one point. Heaps of tackle busts, big meters, carried the ball strongly. And, that was, I think it was another team that was in the Stefano sweepstakes at one point, right? Parramatta wanted him.
Right.
So Good game from Stefano.
Craig Bellamy, by the way, he had this to say in the press conference after the game on their last 15 minutes of the match.
Yeah, I was doing so good up there. I was a bit, it was a bit close for comfort, really. And we weren't really sort of probably playing that well or sticking to what we'd be doing in that situation. A couple of times we went away from that, so that was, we just need to have a bit of a look at that and try and fix that up.
Yeah, are they concerned about it?
No.
No.
That's Bellamy every week. Like they've got high standards at Melbourne.
Yep.
I think you understand that someone who's come from their system, who knows their system well, there was frustrations with, because where they are and the expectations that people have on them to have a bigger scoreline. I reckon he's going to look back on it, especially in the next 3 or 4 weeks when they're coming up to some big games going, that was a good win.
Yep.
That was a really good win. And if it's able to put them in a position where they lock in a top 2 spot, no one cares that they only won 16-10 against a team coming second or third last. All that matters is they got the win, and it puts them in a good position to get a home final.
Can I ask you this, Scopey? So I've done the ladder predictor. Now, the ladder predictor is on the premise that you get every single tip right.
Yep.
I'm clearly not going to get every single tip right, so therefore the ladder predictor is unlikely to go the way where I'm thinking. But as I have it, I've got the Melbourne Storm having to beat Broncos in the last round to get a home final.
Okay.
In the past, they've had the luxury of resting players for this away game in the last round. And Canterbury are most likely that team they're fighting
competing with for the second spot.
So if there is an assurity in this competition, the most likely outcome is that week 1, Canterbury play the Melbourne Storm. Where we don't know, but that's the most likely fixture we have at this stage for week 1 of finals. If it meant that Melbourne had to go to Brisbane and win for the home final, assuming I'm right versus the Bulldogs, what would they do? Would they stay with the path of resting players and saying, you know what, we'll stay to what we know. Yes, we've got to go to Accor Stadium, but you know what, that's where the grand final is anyway.
Yep.
Or do you think they would go, no, it's so important to be at Amy Park. We'll get the week off the following week. Let's just go to Brisbane, win this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they go hard at it. Yeah, I think, getting the opportunity in my limited time playing finals, being able to get into that second spot and get a home final. Like with Manly, it was a little bit different. I don't think we were afforded it because Manly weren't one of those teams during that period, I believe. But we slipped off at the last minute anyway, so it didn't matter. But we had to go to the Roosters, I think, week 1 of finals at Allianz. And if you get the opportunity to play at home, you've got to go all in for it.
This is 2013.
2013.
Where Peter Hickory played fullback.
Yep, and then we...
You won or they won 4-0?
They won 4-0. Then we had to take on the Sharks again.
So you guys went the long road?
We went the long road all the way. Yeah, we had to beat the Sharks the following week. And then Souths. Yeah,
where did you finish that year? What was that game? Was that second versus third or something?
I think it was third. Yeah, and we must have been third.
See, this is where the evidence of a fallacy is, right?
Or maybe we were fourth and the Roosters won the minor premiership that year.
Well, either way, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. So you're either third or you're fourth. It doesn't really matter. People say you can't win the comp outside the top 4. Now, essentially, you've got to win 4 games in a row. You guys lost week 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, therefore, you had to play 4 weeks in a row. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Right. And you were almost in an unlosable position.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Roosters over the barrel, right?
18-8, I think we were up at one point.
So, if anyone says to me, again, you can't win outside the top 4, it was so close to that journey being taken.
Yeah. The Panthers 2021 won 4 in a row, remember, because they lost to South.
There you go.
So they had to do it the tough way, but they were inside the top 4.
So hang on, so they didn't win 4 in a row. They had to play 4 weeks in a row.
Sorry, they had to play 4 weeks in a row, correct.
Like yourselves, but they got the 4th one done.
But they got it done.
Yeah, so of course you can.
And only with a pick right at the end too, so to Stephen Crichton. That started the massive run and where did you have Penrith finishing up? Sorry,
6th.
6th. Okay.
Yeah, 6th. They've been up for a while. Anyway, I could be wrong. And you know what? I'd love nothing more than to see this great story for them to pinch, like to be running last halfway through the comp and then to win. Please, we need to see that. Breaking news, folks. Ethan Bullemor. And we love this.
Oh, yeah, good signing.
Yeah, Bitcoin
Very
Bullemor.
happy.
He signs a new 4-year deal. 4 years. You know what I love this. For those people, and this is where clubs need to cotton onto the Melbourne Storm way. Scopey, Bitcoin Bullemor, Ethan.
What he's calling Bitcoin.
Oh, he loves his Bitcoin.
Does he? Has
Yeah,
been on before, has
he loves his Bitcoin. But you see what he does off the duty bench.
Yep.
He is so into it. That's not going to change. Those qualities are not going to change. So Manly correctly have signed him to the club for 4 years. That's what you need, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he offers a little bit something different for him too, because he's got really good leg speed.
Yeah.
It's up to them now to develop. The next step is for Seeves to develop him into a starter.
Yep.
Like worst case, you've signed a really good impact player for 4 years, but Bullemor's I think he's got even a higher ceiling than what he's producing at the moment, because he has. In particular, like when he supports through the middle, he can score a 30 or 40 metre try for a front rower. That's, super rare. So
Scopey, the Rabbitohs, the Cardinal Red and the Myrtle Green begin to rebuild for 2026 according to the full package and the loaf of bread. Michael Carianis and Brent Reid through Code Sports. The Rabbitohs have begun a rebuild for 2026 with players told to look for different clubs. That includes Shaq Mitchell, Josh Schuster, and Fletcher Myers will need a new home for 2026. They're also hoping to lock in Jaden Sullivan for another season. So he was on loan, by the way, from the West Tigers. They're hoping to lock him in for another season. So what clubs do you think would or should or could do with the Shaq or the Schuster?
Oh, Shaq and Schuster, yeah, it's a tough one. Those boys haven't played a whole heap of first grade over the last couple of years, so sometimes when you're out of sight, you're out of mind.
Yep.
You've got to be playing consistent footy, and with both of them, it's not only been their form or not playing first grade; they've been injured.
Yep.
Well, I was only talking about the South Sydney Rabbitohs, I think, a couple of days ago, just looking at they don't need a rebuild; they just need to get healthy. Because look at the lineup, like the injuries to where they're at now. With the players, I think Bentley Harpy's back in this week, right? Mamazoulis has been thereabouts. Cheese just rocked up. He got injured again. Latrell's a big one. He has had a couple of injuries. It's the training injuries for Souths that are super concerning. Because
So is that a South problem, or is that bad luck?
No, that's a Souths problem. They got to figure out what's happening at training. I've not seen something like this in the past couple of years, where you go all the way back to the start of the training season, the training session that absolutely crippled their season right at the start. They lost Cam Murray to an Achilles injury, and Latrell to a hamstring in the same injury.
Both lower leg injuries.
Both lower leg, both at training. Yeah, you're going to have injuries that happen during the game, and that's just a part of the physical nature of what we do. But having so many happen at training, Latrell, again, the quad injury, that was a training injury. Campbell Graham, he had a sternum, but now it seems to be back spasms. And he finished the game that he played in, and it's back spasms after the fact. So I don't know if it's like a rebuild is required, but they need to relook at what they're doing around training and try to figure it out, because it's clearly not working at the moment.
Wow. Okay. The squad. So we believe there's about $6 million of the cap sidelined. So if you go through their top 30 for the players missing, and I'm not just talking about all the players missing, I'm talking about those who would probably walk into any other NRL first grade team. So, most likely Latrell Mitchell, Jack White and Campbell Graham, Cameron Murray, Tavita Tola, Kaloma Matangi, Coda Walker, Dave Moali, Brandon Smith. Most of those guys would walk into most teams' starting sides.
They're all part of their best 7-8.
Right.
Yeah.
So that accounts to about 1,500 games. 1,500 NRL games. So that is a concern for South Sydney, who right now have to dodge the wooden spoon. But that article, thanks to the full package and loaf of bread, Carianis and Brent Reid for Code Sports. The run home with Joel and the Scope. Under the scope for the round preview, all thanks to Hyundai. It is the game on event right now for Hyundai. Panthers chasing 8 straight. They take on the Titans rather.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Verrills had a little baby. Good on to him and his family. And Liam Martin moves into the starting side. He has been on the bench, but he comes into the starting side. As the Panthers scope, they are chasing 8 wins on the bounce. And congratulations to Jamin Jolliffe. That is his 100th NRL appearance.
Good play, Jimmy Jolliffe.
Yep.
Solid for him. He's been playing in front of a lot of other big names up there.
Yep.
This year. And, congratulations to Jimmy Jolliffe. I think Panthers too good in this one. They're playing good footy. They've got big games around the corner, so they need to make sure they go up there. And similar to Parramatta Eels, they don't have to completely blow them away, but just go up there with a professional mindset.
Yep.
Go up there and get the job done it will be a tough place to play because the Gold Coast Titans looked so much better last week against the Warriors.
As Brooksy shared for the Dragons and the Raiders, the Dragons, of their top 30, 10 are missing. Raiders looking for 10 straight. 5:30 at Wynn Stadium. That windsock might be busy, though. It's going to be tricky conditions.
Yeah, but they're playing the Canberra Raiders who know how to deal with the wind and the cold better than most. So Canberra are my team. I've been high on Canberra for a while now. And Dragons, as my predictor looked like at the back end, I have them slipping. So in order for them to slip and the Raiders to finish at the top of the ladder by the end of the regular season, Raiders win. Battle
of the Birds, here played in this grand final, Scopey, 2013. Seagulls take on the Roosters, 7:35 p.m, 4 Pines Park for the Gotcha for Life Cup. And Beaver we had on yesterday, and the great man Bears Head, they'll be playing at half-time, we believe, in the Gotcha for Life Cup touch footy game.
Manly in this one, in a close one. Wouldn't be surprised if the Chooks come over to 4 Pines to get the job done. Really deflating injury last week to Molly Olakawatu in his first game back. Corey Waddell, he's been okay. He's been solid. He'll go out and fill that position in the back row. This could game, as it suggests, 9th versus 10th could go either way.
Okay, the Blue Wealth Bulldogs update. Blue Wealth Property, Australia's leading property and research and investment education company. Blue Wealth Property, got you covered there. It is the West Tigers taking on the Bulldogs. Combank Stadium, Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. It's going to be a big crowd, no doubt. During Buller comes back. Kiraz has been trialled at fullback for the Bulldogs. But the big story, of course, is Lockie Galvin.
I can't wait to call this one. Yep. Sugar will be out there with Jimmy after we do crunch time on Sunday, rolling into this game. Yep. I think Noddy is joining us. Oh, what about the drama? How good's this going to be? I can't wait for the first time Lockie Galvin gets the footy. He's got it. I was talking about with the big fella Mace. We're talking about it on our podcast. Shout out Levels Network too, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
The first carry from Lachlan Galvin, because they play on the same side as where Jerome Luai is, and everyone said all the right things. But for sure, if they get an opportunity to go and get a fair lick on him, they'll go after him and they'll try to do that. In saying that, he's protected really well with Stephen Crichton on his outside, Jacob Preston on his inside. So, plenty of drama in this game. Bulldogs too good.
Multiple choice. I'm convinced he scores, Scopey. So when he scores, Lockie Galvin, it's easy to get up against your old teams.
Do not hit the... No. Is that what you're getting to?
No, I'm saying, like, what is going to happen? Is he going to point at the badge? Is he going to give the shush? Is he going to get the ears? Is he going to wave to the crowd? Like, what do you do? I suggest do nothing and be humble, but what do you think happens?
Oh, I reckon...
What would he do?
I reckon hands out in the air like the Messiah.
Yeah. And his mates jump all over him.
And everyone crowds around him. He loves a kick.
Yep.
Kick the ball into the crowd, put the hands out there, and then just get absolutely pizzled by all the West Tigers fans.
Okay, all right, there you go. Big game coming up from everyday Aussies to NRL's Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Blue Wealth Property delivers trusted research and investment education. Sharkies and the Cowboys, the Paul Green Cup they're playing for here. Old boys for the Sharkies. And, there you go. That's what's your quick tip there.
Upset alert.
Oh.
I didn't give the boys a warning. I should have given them a warning. Yeah, the last game of the round, upset alert. Cowboys.
Okay, righto. Ooh, I can't see that, but you may be right. Last week, a fortnight ago, upset alert, you said Manly would beat the Melbourne Storm, and they did. Our next guest, selected by the Cleveland Cavaliers with the 49th pick in the NBA draft in June. Folks, it happens to be this guy.
Tyrese.
What's up, man?
What's going on? Kobe Alba from the Cavaliers. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Congratulations, man. We're excited to have you.
I appreciate it. Can't wait to get to work.
Okay, well, we can't wait to get you to Cleveland. I have Coach Kenny Atkinson here. He wants to say hello.
Tyrese, man, congrats.
Appreciate it.
Man,
appreciate it, Coach.
Celebrate it, man. It's incredible. We can't wait to get you here and start working. But celebrate this. Enjoy tonight. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, once upon a time, Scopey, this man is jumping on a bus to, Trinity Grammar. And he'd be on the bus with the likes of, like the Theo Christians and the likes. And now he finds himself there on the biggest stage of the National Basketball Association, the NBA, all the way from Menai to now the United States of America. Tyrese Proctor, hello to you.
How you guys doing? Appreciate you having me.
Mate, we appreciate having you. And, mate, congratulations. I mean, what a journey. It's a long way from Menai, mate.
Yeah, it is. It's been a roller coaster of a ride, but super grateful to be in Cleveland now, and it's just another start to my journey.
Text board's on fire already. We teased the fact that we had Tyrese Proctor coming on the show, and we've got text coming in through already. There's a Scott from Cronulla saying, "Who's your favourite uncle?" It's me, not Steve. There's a Sienna from Cronulla saying, "I'm your favourite cousin." Joe saying she's your favourite auntie, and it's all coming through. How much of that is true? How much of that is fictition?
Nah, it's all true. They my family all live in Cronulla. So it's cool to see them tuned in.
Are you a Shark as a result of that?
Yeah, most definitely. Always, grew up watching the Sharks, and I'm going to the game on Sunday against the Cowboys. So, whenever I come back home, I always try and get out to a game and just stay supporting it.
Yeah, Tyrese. Let's get into the basketball as well, mate. We can maybe finish off with a little bit of NRL at the end. Cleveland Cavaliers, a really good spot. I'm a huge US sports fan. I watched, especially in the East, with a couple of huge injuries to some big names for Boston and Indiana with Halliburton going down. You're going into a really good situation in your first year, and started really well in your summer league as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We got a great team. Finished, first in the East last year, and like you said, the East is wide open, and I think with a couple of additions besides myself coming onto the team, we're gonna have a really good core group and championship contending team. And I think the biggest thing for me is just going into camp open-minded and just learning off guys like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland that have been there, and seeing how the NBA is and seeing what it's like, and just try and carve my spot out and carve my role out.
So where do you envision your spot? Because you talked about Donovan, you got Darius in the front court, then you got the big Twin Towers as well in the middle, or protecting the paint. In your 35-point performance against the Kings, you don't mind jacking it up. So is it are you pushing for a starting spot straight away, or are you looking to have an impact off the bench early on?
Yeah, I think just doing whatever the team needs me to do. I think coach is a great coach, and like I said, just going into training camp with an open mind, just doing whatever I can to impact winning, and getting on the court, staying on the court, and whatever happens from there happens. But I think the most important thing for me right now is just going in with an open mind, and it's all about learning. Just being a sponge from all those vets and taking everything in.
Tyrese, now my spies tell me, now I'm only 5'11", and I'm sort of fudging at that, probably 5'10 and a half. So basketball's never been my forte, if you don't mind, or the forte B or the fort C. But anyway, where I'm getting to is this. Now my spies tell me that every day of the week, Tyrese Proctor, and this was also through the Americans live through the draft, you were top 10 pick all day in the draft, right? But you kept falling and falling and falling, which is there a reason for that? Because my spies are kind of telling me that there might have been a reason for your fall, because most of those above you in the draft may have to wait a fair bit of time to play NBA, whereas you have been picked to almost go straight into it. Am I talking out of school? Am I on track? Where do we land? Tyrese Proctor.
You obviously see all the draft boards and mock drafts and all that stuff. I was never a big guy on social media to be looking at all that. But it's the day and age we live in right now, and I think for me the biggest thing was just about positioning. Where I was able to go and impact winning. Obviously landing in a great situation, but throughout the whole draft process, you really don't know where you're going until the day of, a couple picks before. So, it was really just talking to my people, talking to my agents, and once I found out I was going to Cleveland, I couldn't have been more happy, and connected with the guys straight away, and they had a plan. They wanted me from the jump, and the number is the number, but like you said, there's some guys above that might get higher in the draft and stuff like that, and the outcome might not be there, but I think for me it's just like I said, going in, being out impact, winning, and just playing my game at a high level.
I want to share this because a lot of people here locally will resonate with these schools. So you go from catching a bus to Trinity Grammar School, Summerhill, right? Great school. And you're taking on Knox, and you're taking on Waverley, and you're taking on all these great schools, Barker and so forth. And now you go to another college, which happens to be called Duke. And you meet a guy called Cooper Flagg, who happens to go number 1 in the draft, number 1. And he's a mate of yours. What was that like, that transition, Tyrese, and how did that happen for you?
Yeah, so I started off at Bengal Primary School in the Shire, and then went to my high school at Trinity Grammar School in Summerhill. So catching that bus every morning wasn't the best, but it had to be done. And was there for 3 years, and then transitioned to the NBA Global Academy in Canberra. So I was living in Canberra with guys like Dyson Daniels, Josh Giddey, a lot of Australian basketball players. Grew up there, transitioned through the AIS and through the Centre of Excellence. So I was there for 3 years, and then, played overseas, got looked at here and there, and started getting offers rolling in. And Coach Shire called me pretty early, so I reclassified a year up, went a year ahead than I was supposed to. Duke was amazing. I was there for 3 years, and obviously met Coop there, and we got really close straight away. And I think not just him, but our whole starting 5 got drafted. So just being able to see, all the hard work, not only individually but as a group, and for it to pay off in the long run was really special. Yeah,
do you think the 3 years in such a big program like Duke, it's going to set you up really well for the NBA, Tyrese? Because I'd imagine, when you got the big schools like Duke and Kentucky and all those, sort of big basketball programs, you got that national spotlight on you from the start. So I'd imagine that serves you well, and all your teammates. Is that because I saw after the draft? Is that the first time that the entire starting lineup has been drafted as all 5 years? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
And so with Cooper, I think he sort of, with some of us fans over here in Australia, it's huge basketball, but he sort of hit the scene for a lot of us, maybe more casual fans, when he took on the Olympic team a couple of years ago, and then he commits to with you guys at Duke. He's gone as number 1 pick. There's so much hype around him. What's he like as a teammate, and what's your expectations for his first year in a pretty good situation in Dallas as well?
Yeah, no, he's in a great situation. Coop's a dog on and off the court. He's the most humble kid you ever meet. We spent a lot of time together in the off season before we started playing. We were working out every morning with Jay Lucas, so we got to know each other really well. We still stay in contact to this day, and I was actually on the phone with him a couple of hours ago, which was pretty funny. But Coop's a really great kid. When he's on the court, like I say, he's a dog, he's an animal. All he cares about is winning. It doesn't matter if he goes out and drops 5 points or 40 points. At the end of the day, all he cares about is winning, and I think that's something that he'll be able to take and bring to the NBA. And as far as expectation, there's already enough media and hype and expectation around him. So I think just getting him settled in early will be big for him. He's got a great group around him. So once he finds his spot, and I think he'll do great things in the league.
What about the other Aussies that you mentioned before? And is it did you say it was like a transition program from over here? Josh Giddey, he just goes off when he gets traded to Chicago Bulls. I'd imagine a big deal's not too far around the corner for him. And Dyson Daniels, what a season he had for the Atlanta Hawks. Have those two guys now reached out to you and given you advice or just congratulating you since being drafted? And it feels like there's a really good era of Australian basketball just around the corner with the likes of you and those two guys in particular.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they definitely reached out. Me and Dyson, talk almost every day. We were all together at the AIS in Canberra and, lived together, went to school together, played basketball every day together. It's really cool seeing both of those guys, their career, and especially Dyson's last season that he had was really special. I think, it's really cool just seeing those guys. I think the next generation of Australian basketball is going to be really special. A lot of young guys are coming through the ranks now. The Olympics is right around the corner. The Olympics coming to Australia not too long as well. So definitely have my eyes set on those, and hopefully we can bring some medals back home.
Tyrese, look, as you know with Australia, we can Bruce. The Bruce is a term where we find someone and we leverage off them. We've done that with Jordan Mailata, okay? So that poor bugger, anywhere near Australia, as his fame ascends, we sort of latch onto him. Unfortunately for you, young man, that's in front of you. I say embrace it and just get around the Aussies because you're on your way, and we are very proud to have you on your way. So get around it. We are going to punish you as Australians, and the bigger you get, the more we're going to sort of leech and Bruce onto you. But we're very, very proud to have you representing our country, representing your area. And, mate, it's sky's the limit. It's such a wonderful achievement where we all try and do our best in our local areas. Can I ask you this, though, Tyrese? When you were, say, 10, 12, that kind of age where we've got heroes, who was the Tyrese Proctor hero? Who did you want to be at that age?
I would say my dad. My dad was a big influence on my career.
Yep.
Obviously, not only me as a basketball player, but as a person as well. So I think at that age, it was definitely my father.
When you win that NBA championships one day, and we'll be sort of scrounging in the background, we'll be at 40 deep. We'll say, Tyrese, remember that interview you had on radio many years ago? That's the kind of thing that's in front of you, young man. Tyrese, we appreciate this. There's a text coming through from Jackson saying, forget about Joe, forget about Scott, forget about Sienna. Jackson, if you know, you know. He's saying he's your man. Mate, Tyrese, thank you so much for your time, and it is very much appreciated. We know where you're headed, and it's nothing but blue skies for you, young man. Thank you for joining the Run Home with Joel and Fletch.
Appreciate it, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Tyrese Proctor, Scopey.
Going to be a gun, mate. So by the way, the guy I mentioned at the end, Dyson Daniels, I think he got Brooksy will know. Did he get most improved player? Or did he get defensive player? I know he got one of the awards this year. He didn't get either of them. Anyway, Dyson Daniels has this breakout season at the Atlanta Hawks. He got traded to the Atlanta Hawks. No wonder he's 35 points in the Summer League. No wonder he's such a good offensive player. Because he talked about going up against Dyson Daniels. And you know what his nickname is? Dyson Daniels, you know what they call him?
Oh, barrier, the Great Barrier Thief.
The Great Barrier Thief. If that is not... He got most improved. He got most improved in the entire NBA. So he is known for his defense, and he was in contention for Defensive Player of the Year as well. But also, like across the board, there is such a good young core that are coming through at the moment.